So it has been 3.5 weeks on my T30, and the first 2 weeks were rock solid. I didn't cheat once. I did so well with consistently drinking all my water, which is usually the hardest thing for me, and just eating lots of vegetables and working out pretty much every day. And the first thing I noticed was how just emotionally even I felt. I love the way the T30 makes me feel like a sane person all the time. I am a very emotional woman, and it's hard for me to deal with my emotions sometimes. And that was my favorite benefit of the T30. I have noticed and I have heard people share with me that they just feel really even. Not numb, happy, joyful. You still feel irritable, you still feel impatient, you still feel normal emotions. They're just not like unbearable and explosive and not explosive, but like it's just so easy to manage, really manageable, So my husband's off for 10 days, and we were super excited that he was coming home for 10 days. We were doing our T30 together, and we were going to work out together and just do so much. And my kids both got sick. One with pneumonia, I think. He had chest pain, couldn't breathe well, and had a fever from one day to the next. I mean, he was totally fine, and then out of nowhere, 102 fever, my chest hurts, I can't breathe. He was like taking breaths in between every word, and it was like, we're going to the hospital right now because this sounds too familiar to me. I've had pneumonia 3 times as a child, and I was like, this is just gonna get worse. And it did. Within 2 hours it was worse. So we went straight to the doctor, got his medicine, a chest x-ray, all that good stuff, and he's fine now, praise the Lord. It's been exactly a week. Last Friday, today's Thursday, so almost a week. And he's been fine for the last 4 or 5 days. And then my little one had a runny nose, which is crazy for him. He's up all night. So I didn't sleep for 3 or 4 nights in a row because he had a runny nose for 2 nights, and then Ivan got sick for 2 nights, and I didn't sleep. So that was starting to get me. So I got a sore throat and immediately started doubling, tripling up on Juice Plus. Feel fine now, back to normal. Within 3-4 days, I was back on my feet like nothing ever happened. And Joel, right after Ivan was fine, he got a 99 temperature, not a fever, but still, what's going on? Your body's fighting something. And not very often, from time to time, my children will get a 99, and then whatever it was never shows up. It's like their immune system was able to fight it off before it developed into anything. I noticed that. That might be a kid thing. It might be my children. I have no idea. But I just thought, okay, everybody's sick. Ivan was sick. Everybody at church is sick. Maybe he's fighting something that he came in contact with. Well, he got another 99-ish temperature the next day, and then nothing for 3 or 4 days. And then yesterday, out of nowhere, these little tiny, maybe 20 blisters all together on his feet, hands, and his tongue. And the first ones were the tongue that were bothering him. He was telling me during breakfast as he was eating his pineapple that his tongue hurt. So I thought, man, maybe he has some blisters in there. So I looked, I was like, yeah, you have a couple of sore little spots on your tongue. It's okay, just don't eat the pineapple, just eat the eggs. So he ate, he was fine, he was playing. We sat down for school, and he says, ow, my foot hurts. And I look, and there's 2 blisters. I was like, that's odd. Well, as I kept looking, there were more, but they were so little I could barely see them, but until they were in the sunlight. So I think he has hand, foot, and mouth. I started searching his hands to see if he had anything, and he had 3 on his hands. And then on his knees, he's got a couple, and on his elbows, he's got a couple. But he hasn't complained one bit. They don't hurt at all. I mean, he hasn't had a fever, he hasn't had any other symptoms. But still, all of that. Then my husband injures himself. So our 10 days together as like a staycation has become like everybody something wrong, you know. Thankfully we're home. We didn't have any plans of leaving. It's been great, but it has also been a lot on my plate to take care of everybody, to not be sleeping, to be the one on call. It's been hard. And so diet has been not on point. And the first thing I could tell was my stomach. My stomach felt, you know, not horrible, running to the bathroom, just like, I don't like the way I feel right now, you know. And then it would go away, then I would eat something else, and it was like, that's why I don't feel good, because the gluten I just ate. So I cut gluten right back out after 2 times eating gluten. Then I had some, because I'm a moron, I made brownies. So I had a brownie and I felt atrocious. That was sugar and wheat, you know, gluten. Awful. So I cut that right back out. So I'm still, you know, not having gluten, dairy, or sugar, but I've definitely not been eating as many vegetables or drinking as much water. And I skipped 2 days of shakes. And man, I can tell emotionally, I feel like just a little bit, you know, emotional, like silly stuff that doesn't matter when I think of it logically, but it's still, the emotion is there and it's real. But silly girl stuff. And it's like, I wasn't feeling like this 3 weeks ago. I wasn't feeling like this, you know, a week ago. This is because my diet is not as clean as it should be. So I am totally starting back full throttle tomorrow. And I just had to share, you know, I didn't like fly off and I'm not doing the T30 anymore, but I definitely had some messed up days in the middle of it all. But it's okay. I still have a week and a half left, and I am completing this. I'm human, and I don't recommend falling off your T30. But sometimes life happens, and you just gotta do it, you know. And I mean, maybe it'll take me 35 days to complete it because I still have so many shakes. So it's okay. And then when my shakes are done, I will stay eating healthy and on point, and I will not forget the way I felt when I ate gluten once and ate sugar once. You know, it's like so crazy how our bodies thank us when we're doing what they need, and our bodies tell us when we're not. And it's really sad. I heard this yesterday. In fact, our bodies whisper to us when we eat the wrong thing, or, you know, our bodies don't feel good because of what we're putting in our bodies. They whisper to us, but why don't we listen? Why do we only listen when they're screaming at us? You know, let's listen to our bodies when they're whispering and take that as a cue to stop that and get back on your clean eating. It is so worth depriving yourself of one brownie one time and feeling fantastic than fulfilling your taste buds for that moment and then feeling awful for an hour and a half afterwards or longer. You know, it's just so worth it. Right now I feel so good, and I know why. And this is the thing that's so crazy. First of all, I always make homemade tortillas, but we had small group. I had bought tortillas for our taco fellowship night. My kids got sick, so we didn't go. So there's these stack of tortillas in my kitchen. Well, duh, I'm gonna use them because they're ready, they're convenient. My kids love quesadillas, they'll eat, and it's just easy. So I made this yummy salsa chicken with peppers and onions and all these good seasonings in the crock pot, and I made these black beans, organic black beans, organic corn with cilantro and avocado and all this yumminess, and I was like, cool, I'll put this in the tortillas. The night before I had made those toppings on top of a sweet potato, a baked sweet potato. Well, then we ate the sweet potatoes, we still had all these toppings left over, so I used the tortillas today. I only ate 2, you guys, 2, and I felt awful for a good 2 hours. I mean, it was just like, this is so not worth it. I would have rather just have eaten the filling, the chicken and the beans and corn and avocado, like over salad or something, or just plain, for goodness sake, than to feel the way that I felt. And I just started feeling like, okay, this is it. I'm done cheating. I am done taking the convenient route. I can just omit that next time and have a yummy, hearty lunch. I didn't need the convenient food added. My lunch was so satisfying without it, but I gave in, you know? So anyway, just wanted to share where I was at. And I know I hadn't done an update in a while. It's just because you just heard all the craziness that happened this week. And so, yeah. Don't let this discourage you from doing a T30. I know countless people that have done a fantastic job sticking to it and following through the whole month. And even if they did fall off for 1 or 2 meals, they still just got right back on, you know? And you can do the same.